When you look at smart cities, it almost seems unnatural to say it in a place like Mauritius. But what's really interesting is when you start to take a look at the different elements that make up Mauritius, from the shoreline up to the plateaus, and how the unique environments of each one of them have a unique need. And I think that is the promise of smart cities, that you're playing to your strengths. You're playing to making sure that the best elements are put into place on every square meter, both existing towns and the new developments, so that it creates a holistic picture or holistic experience for people that are tourists that come here, for attracting new talent that would immigrate here, or even attracting the people that have already left to want to come back home. So smart cities is not just about putting in the latest gadget or having the coolest app. Those things are important, but what's also important is the leadership from both the business community and the government to understand that there's a vision that needs to happen. It needs to be a big vision first, but it needs to affect every citizen here in Mauritius. You have the unique opportunity to put information technologies, different designs, different ways of constructing, and then managing a town and a new city in a way that will affect not just the people living there, but for every Mauritian. I think at the essence, smart cities is also about a real estate transaction. And that becomes a very interesting play when you take a look at what is already existing here in Mauritius. So you already have shopping malls that are not fully leased. You have certain developments that are not fully subscribed to when it comes to residents or tenants, these types of things. But that's not unique just to Mauritius. So there needs to be that holistic thinking here, that it's not just about one development, or it's not just about 2 or 3 developments. It's taking a look at Mauritius as a whole, because if you look at it like a body, you can't think of your circulatory system and your respiratory system as separate things. Now they do separate things, just like what happens in Port Louis is a lot different than what happens over the airport. But at the end of the day, they have to interact together to create that experience, to create the mechanisms that raise the value of property. That is the essence of what smart cities can bring to Mauritius, not just the cleverness of having an app that does something cool. Those things are important, but at the end of the day, it's really about taking a look at what the inventory is today, looking at what the demand is for tomorrow, and creating the right types of environments on the real estate end of things to help fulfill those needs. This is going to take an approach both from the private sector, from the government, and from the financial sector of Mauritius to actually make it work. Smart city financing is probably one of the biggest questions, not just here in Mauritius, but around the world. How do you start? Well, we like to think of things as think big, but start small. Start to show quick wins so that you could get the financial trust. These are the types of things that we're looking at as the impetus that you do not need to spend a lot of money to start things off. But what you do need to do is understand that when you kick things off, that there's a resultant effect. So that when you are talking about the financing then of, like, let's say a district, a city, that you can actually prove out early wins so that the trust mechanism comes into place, that the financial world says, you know what, that's really cool, take the next step. Take the next step. So, the advice for how to finance smart cities projects: think big, plan for it, understand what mechanisms are out there, because it's a layered approach. It's not just a real estate transaction. There's job creation, there's social infrastructure that needs to be put into place that all affect this, and there's money to be found out there for that. But in order to get that money, you better have the trust of the markets, and the best way to show it is actually through successful implementations.